Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by the Looking Gas Duck Club Podcast. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world-famous Andy Shaver.
That is me. Looking Glass Duck Club.
Did I say looking ass?
Looking gas, looking ass.
Well, they know.
Go to Patreon, subscribe, pay, all that good stuff, and you can listen to everything they got going on.
A lot of off-color, funny adult humor for you. Do not
That's
listen
right.
to it with your kids in the school on the way to elementary. With us today from Smithville, Missouri,
The Ozarks.
the marijuana capital of the Ozarks, I guess. Zachary Sears and Matt Lockwood, who goes by the name Bucket. We haven't found out yet
We're
why.
going to find out why here in just shortly.
Thank you for being on the podcast. How y'all doing today?
Busy. Super
busy.
Yes.
That's a good.
I run around this place like a chicken with my head cut off 90% of the time.
That's a good problem to have. Has it just like taken the world by storm now that marijuana it's fully legal in Missouri, isn't it? Recreationally?
Yep, fully legal.
Yep. Now that we've gone into adult use, it's we can't make it fast enough.
Yeah.
Really?
So
Yeah.
for someone me, everybody listens to this knows I've never smoked a joint in my life. I've never done a gummy. I've never done any of that at all. My friend Lucas Bellinger tells me I'm missing out all the time. It's a cure for everything. I told him I was sick to my stomach the other day. Take a gummy. You know, it's his answer for everything. So
Well, you'll sleep through it.
yeah. So tell me this now. How long does it take from the start of planting a seed to making cash on it? How long does that take?
Oh, about 100 to 120 days.
Yep.
So 4 months.
Yep.
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 And what?
It goes. So we don't go from seed. We go. We have what's called a mother plant, and we take cuttings off of that mother plant, which is now a clone of that plant, and we propagate that using some hormones and stuff to get roots to grow off of that new shoot. You know, kind of like grafting a tree, and those now become new plants. You know, we'll cut about 1,000 of them, 1,400 of them at a time, and get them planted, and off they go.
And then how much? This is going to be my probably dumb question of many today. How much off of one plant? How much are we getting off of there? Like if you were to talk about it like,
Corn, what's the yield?
Well, no, like we need to find like a standard measurement, I guess.
So our measurement, because we're doing indoor cultivation, we go off of grams per square foot produced. Because you can grow a big old plant that takes a long time to grow out. There's 2 stages of the plant's life. There's vegetative state, where you're just growing the plant, and then there's the flowering stage where you're growing, the buds. So we grow a little bit smaller plants to keep down that veg cycle time, so that we can turn a room over more times in a year. Our veg time is about 17 days. The flowering time is about 63 days. And we're harvesting about anywhere different strains. There's different varieties. Anywhere from 65 to 90 grams per square foot of dried sellable flower.
Hold on just a minute. Does that make you feel better, Andy?
No, but so
How much money do you make per
No,
plant?
not even that.
Oh.
Like how many like joints can we get out of like one plant or something like that? Like that's what I was saying. Like we've got to find like a standard unit to measure.
That we understand.
So per plant, probably getting about a quarter pound. So that's 112 grams. If you're rolling joints about the size of your pinky, that's probably 220, 230 joints.
What's that cost? For me, it's a money deal.
Just a money guy.
How
$5 a joint.
So we sell those.
$1,000.
So we're manufacturing. So we're in the wholesale market game of sales. We're selling those for probably $5 to $7
a gram
per half gram.
Per half gram. So you're making about $2,000 per plant.
Yep.
Jesus.
Yep.
And 114 plants you grafted off one mother tree. So one mother tree is producing about $250,000 every 4 months.
Yep.
Jesus.
We're in the wrong fucking business.
And that's
there's a lot of overhead.
Yeah, the overhead.
Overhead.
Our electrical bill alone probably pays off your house 4 times a
You
year.
know what, though? People don't figure that shit. It don't matter what kind of business you're in.
Right.
If a Budweiser truck drives down the road, they're like, there's $35,000 beer. Them fuckers are making a lot of money. Well, it costs money for that truck, that guy to drive that truck and to produce it. So, yes, I understand that. But so there's nobody going broke in the marijuana business, though.
It's right now the way the industry is. Unfortunately, it's the small guys are getting pushed out because they can't keep up with the big guys, and it's a waiting game. It's a race to the bottom right now in the newer states. The West Coast is already kind of washed out on prices. Everything's dirt cheap out here. The prices are still decent, but it's a race to the bottom on the prices. And these bigger companies that have investors and stuff, they can hold out. They can afford to lose money for 3 to 5 years, and wait for the small guys to get pushed out, and then after that happens, then you see the prices kind of start to swing back up.
So go ahead, Andy.
where are you guys at in this little swing? Like, do we have 3 to 5 years to wait? Like, can we weather the storm, or are we shitting our pants right now?
We're a multi-state operator. We operate in California. We were in Nevada. We were in Ohio. We've sold those facilities. We're now in Missouri, and we are in Massachusetts. So we're ready to wait.
I'll tell you what's amazing is when you were telling that story about the grafting is when I was probably 12 years old, there was a kid lived down the street in a trailer from us, and he had marijuana plants he grew in the woods out by my house. He had 3 or 4 plants, and he'd go there every day with a bottle of water, and he'd water them and shit. And I always used to think,
How old was he?
Oh, he was probably 15 or 16. But I remember all the neighbors would be
Not in the second grader.
all the neighbors would be like, that fucker, he's going to amount to shit in his life. He probably runs a big fucking grow operation talking about grafting. He was just way ahead of his time, and we did not know it.
Yep.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is the few podcasts ago I was listening to, you guys said that it's not legal in Texas. Well, we had one of our somebody that we purchased product through, like our lights or fans, whatever, they were coming up to kind of like scale the building, and one of them's from Austin, Texas, and he said that it is legal in Texas, but it's only legal through carts or like vapes.
I think
like there's no dry flower.
I don't know. I don't that he would
lives
know
in Austin.
He would know more than me.
Right.
But I think that Austin might have done something to where they can sell it in Austin.
Oh, gotcha.
So
okay. And I'm
if it's legal in Texas, like I'm ignorant to it, but I think Austin did some special kind. You can get fucking Narcan on the street in Austin. So I mean, they're the wild.
I think
Wild
Austin,
West.
you can do heroin, have butt sex, and buy marijuana vapes, and it's all legal because it's in Austin,
Hell yeah.
Texas, because they have different rules than we have.
Right.
all from the same.
Yeah, so it's a whole different world.
Austin
with
is
them.
California, but
Yeah.
he's probably.
He would know more than we would. It's not legal.
Yeah.
You can't go buy marijuana nowhere here. I know that as being
You're
a
a judge.
Well, I was a judge. I'm retired now, but you cannot. But it's coming, and here it is.
I don't think it will to Texas.
I'm a conservative male as much as you can get, and I'm against everything. I grew up, drugs are bad. Marijuana is not bad for people. I'm not going to do it. Marijuana should be legal. I mean, it should be. There's too many good reasons. My mom just got diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, and probably a joint a day would do her some good.
Yep. Yeah. Definitely.
Well, I mean,
Definitely.
anything, people that have insomnia, people that have eating disorders, people that have chronic pain, people,
Montezuma's Revenge, I found out. She's
Right.
taking a gummy.
People that have personality disorders or anxiety. I mean, you can just take a couple puffs of this and then you're off of Xanax. You're seeing that's a big thing. I think that the benefits outweigh. And there's negatives to anything. If you drink too much water, you're going to die. If you drink too much too much liquor, or if you eat too much sugar, anything can be taken the opposite way to where it's bad for you. But
Now-
I think anybody that uses anything responsibly, I don't think that it's the government's place to come in and say, no, this should be illegal. But I do understand that that's the American model. People take things to excess.
How about this? As a person that doesn't know shit about this, but I'm very interested in this, and I'm gonna buy me a book and read more on this. The guy goes to the dispensary and buys shit. Like I can go to the liquor store and I can buy some cheap scotch, or I can buy Johnny Walker Blue, and I'm gonna get there's shit cost a whole lot more than that. Or I can buy Pappy bourbon, or I can buy Jack Daniels. What's marijuana start at? You've got to have your Busch Light level. I'm gonna piss off
Your blue
my
beer?
Busch
That's-
Light,
yeah,
my blue
yeah.
beer. What is that? What's that
That's
cost?
exactly right. So the joints that you're talking about, we offer, it's a already rolled joint for you. It comes in either a 10-pack. You can buy a single of them. That's kind of your lower level, stuff that didn't really pass all the expectations to the bud itself, the nugs itself, to make it into a jar. Those are kind of our lower level. That's cheaper, usually not as high potency as some of the other things. And then on the manufacturing side, which is the side that I work in, the processing, we have some low level vape cartridges that are, pretty, I mean, they're still expensive, but they're lower level expensive. And then we've got stuff, we've got some high end concentrates, which is just where we take a bunch of, really nice buds and run them through an extraction process, either using CO2 or hydrocarbons or even ice water to extract the oils and stuff out of them. And some of those products for a gram, sell for upwards of $100 a gram.
So how many joints can you get out of that?
So out of what I'm talking about, the concentrates, we're taking all of the bud, and it's going into a machine, and we're extracting the oils out of it. So then when we're done, all of the bud is now it's waste. We throw it away.
So what's the
That's wax, isn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly. Like wax being one of those SKUs. Yes.
So what's the most expensive joint you sell, and what's the cheapest one you sell?
So we do a joint that's called a donut. The reason it's called a donut is it's got about 2 grams. Different companies do different. Here we do about 2 to 2.5 grams of ground up flour. And then in the center of it, the joint, there is a little worm, I guess you would say, of what we call rosin, live rosin. I mean, that's a type of hash, and that goes in the middle, and that really boosts the potency. And when you burn it, if you look at the end of it where the ash is, it'll look like a donut. Yep. So we call them donuts.
I'm learning something new today, boys.
Those we sell those for $100.
$100.
$100 a joint. Boy, that's that
Yeah,
puff give right there. Don't be stingy, motherfucker.
No, we're fucking.
Yeah.
That's all me, baby. I'm not giving that to nobody.
Exactly.
How often do people buy these? I mean, is it just for like special occasions that somebody would smoke a donut, or?
Yeah. There's it's just like whiskey. You've got people that are connoisseur whiskey drinkers. They won't, you'll never catch them with a bottle of Old Number 7 in their hand. They're always, they're more of a pappy drinker. Same kind of thing. There's people that don't care, they just want the job to get done. They don't want to pay a whole lot for it. And then there's people that are really, that they're connoisseur. They want the full experience.
Right. When marijuana became legal in Missouri, do they have, does any of the money go to anything in the state? Because I think I was reading that New Mexico, like a third of the sales tax or whatever, goes back to the state of New Mexico, and they reinvest that into like education and shit. Is there anything like that in Missouri?
So I've only lived in Missouri since October. I'm brand new here, so I'm not. There's got to be, because in every state that I've been in, I've been in quite a few. That's how it goes. Colorado, I think, being the best, I think 100% of theirs goes back into education. Since they've been going, their education system has improved immensely.
I want to say we got a vote coming up, our next electoral or whichever it is, that it's going to bump our taxes up on it as well. Like it's at 10 or 12 now. It's going to be 18 to 20 if this next bill passes or whichever two.
There's going to be a lot of weed heads that are pissed off about that.
Well, I'm a mad motherfucker right now.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I just got kicked off of fucking Facebook posting in our own group for a week because I told some guy he was a douche ass in another group. People are such pussies in this world.
Jeff, don't do that.
Oh, yeah.
I took a picture. You guys was going to put this
He was sensitive.
cool ass podcast and put it on our own podcast page. You cannot post until March 15th at 8:31 p.m. I find that goofy motherfucker. I'm gonna go beat his. No, I'm not gonna do this. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna beat his ass.
Yeah, now we're off of you. Now we're off of YouTube for making
I want
threats.
a video. I want a video.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm not even a physical person. It just pisses me off, pussies, that we got live in this world. So, back to the weed questions then, because I have a ton of these questions.
Back to the weed questions.
So you can either buy cheap ass weed or you can
Good thing
buy
you're in here, Bubs.
expensive ass weed.
Yep.
Yeah.
What are the guys?
And it's
What are the guys on the streets doing? Because I know in Colorado that since it become legal, it was easier for the illegal guys to sell pot because they could carry it around with them and say it was for personal use. So y'all are dealing with that in Missouri too, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. There's when it becomes legal, there's still, the personal amount. So if you get caught with more than, an ounce or so, it's, you're still in trouble. So that, if you get pulled over, you got 2 pounds of weed in your trunk, they're going to take it from you. You're probably going to go take a little trip with them. The black market is thriving. The legal market is, especially on the West Coast, is really, really struggling just because there's so many, home growers and stuff. They're a home grower, but they might have a 3-car garage just stacked.
See, that's crazy to me that the black market would have anything to do anymore. Like I thought it would be kind of like alcohol. Once it became legal,
it's a lot cheaper. So when you buy, and a lot of the guys, especially out west, that just because they're not in the legal market doesn't mean they haven't been doing this for a real long time, and we call those people craft growers. They're not commercial where they're pumped. It's just just pump it out as much as you can, as fast as you can. Those, a lot of those guys are, really good at what they do, really, really high end product, and they're not paying. They don't have to pay, a staff of 100 employees plus all the people with the C at the front of their title, CEO, CFO. They don't have to pay distribution tax. They don't have to pay a testing lab. A testing lab per 15-pound batch of flour is it's about $1,000 by the time you get it out the door. There's just the regulations that it makes it very expensive to produce, and so we have to by the time it hits the retail level, it's 25 to 50% more expensive,
right,
than going over to your buddy's house that grows it that's just as good or better.
Right.
And,
so what? Who is imposing these regulations? Is it each individual state like California, Colorado, Missouri? Because it's still illegal federally. So the state
Correct.
that you're
So
in comes up with the rules that you have to play by.
Yes. So here, Missouri, it's ran by the DHSS, which is the Department of Senior Services.
Yeah.
Here, I know Ohio's ran through the Board of Pharmacy. Nevada's run through the Board of Taxation. So it's whoever they designate at the time, when they're drafting these bills, who's going to run it. I was operating in Ohio, under the influence of the Board of Pharmacy, is very, very strict, very, the variances on potency and allowabilities of certain levels, left over of, residual pesticides or, heavy metals, microbials. It was all very strict. Other states, it might be ran through Board of Taxation. They're not really privy to that stuff as much. So, they might have a little bit, more lax things like that.
So do y'all just go to like where the next frontier is? Like if it ever legalized in Texas, would you guys come down here and, all of a sudden Bucket's pulling up residency and settling roots in Texas?
Yeah. We pursue licenses in areas to where it deems profitable. Some states that, Arkansas maybe, low population, no really big cities there. It doesn't make much sense.
They like their meth out there anyway. Like that's all Arkansas is, a bunch of meth heads. Weed's not gonna ever be profitable in Arkansas.
Like Texas, you guys have so many big cities. Like,
right.
If and when that happens, everybody's going to be pursuing it, and there'll be a lot of licenses given out there, because of the population size.
So is that how it works? Is it kind of a per capita thing? No,
it's how the bill is drafted. So you'll have lobbyists that'll come. They'll write a bill with some lawyers, and they'll lobby it to get it passed. And however it's written, states like Oregon, Nevada, Oklahoma, those are states to where they kind of just went, we're going to Wild West this. If you want a license, you come pay your $5,000, whatever their fee is, go for it. And in those three states in particular that I mentioned, it's so flooded. So those are states where it's really hard to survive. There's just so many. Out here we're selling a pound, a bulk pound for $2,200 to $2,500. That same pound selling in Oregon you can get for $500 to $800.
Wow. Shit, go to Oregon, buy it, and go back and sell it in Missouri.
Watch out for I-70 in Kansas.
Watch out for I-70 in Kansas.
What's the so have we seen, I'm assuming this marijuana business is probably about like it was when Prohibition ended. Everybody was in the business, and like you said, it's starting to weed out a lot of the guys. Do you see more growth in Missouri, or do you think y'all are stabilized now? And is there a lot of people that are first-time buyers that are going and buying? Are you seeing those same people become repeat customers? Are you seeing is the amount of customers dropping a little bit, or is it growing?
So we just February 6th was our first day of recreational sales, because it's now recreationally legal. So we're still kind of in, we're 2 days past our first month. So it's still kind of, it's still climbing. But it just like you mentioned, any market that there is with stuff, it's you're going to see a real big peak and then a drop off and then kind of come back out and plateau. And I think we're still kind of ascending the mountain on.
A funny story too. I was down at our dispensary, probably our third day of being rec, and me and my wife were in there. I was just showing her like what it's like. It's like walking into a pharmacy.
Right.
And there was these two gals behind us in line. One of them was very intelligent, kind of knew the strains, knew, your indicas, sativas, and was explaining to her friend this. As soon as they walked into the dispensary itself, like the one gal that was knowledgeable went the other way, and her friend was just left in the dust, and a bud tender grabbed her and was like, "So what are you looking for?" She's like, "I have no idea. Do you have anything in here like $10?" And my wife's like, "What the fuck?"
$10.
So it was just like, she's like, "I just want one gummy. I just want to try it." It's like, well, we got a pre-roll or something you can buy for $5, but we don't have like a gummy. So it's the market. It's going to be a learning curve too for all these people.
So now you can't buy just single gummies, or y'all don't do gummies, or what?
You just give them
No,
gummy.
there's gummies. They usually
Package.
come in a 10-pack.
Or a 25 pack.
10 or 25 pack. So they sell it in so here you got to throw you for a little loop here. We sell it in milligrams of THC in the product. So that's how we measure the potency in them. So we're usually selling a 100 milligram pack, and each gummy could have 1 milligram in it, could have 10 milligrams in it. It just depends how that the person who is formulating for that particular company, their formulations are. They might be running 10. Most people run 10 milligram gummies. So it'll be a 10 pack. And
I know.
I said, right now
I know a guy that got a hold of 100 milligram gummies.
Yep.
And he's definitely somebody took it. And it was like, it's like that the meme of Woody on Toy Story. He's like, "Goodbye, friend.
So long, partner.
see you when I see you, bud."
Yeah.
He went to the dark side of the moon. He had to have gone to the dark side of the moon.
Oh yeah. There's some people it doesn't affect them as strong as others. When I was younger, I was I'll eat a couple 100 milligrams, be fine. Now that I don't really smoke or anything as much. I'm busy, work, kids. I go by the nickname sometimes when I'm eating edibles is 10 milligram Tom, because 10 milligrams, I'm done.
That's it.
You were at the house, a week ago, and I split a 5?
Yeah.
I split a 5, and I was like, everybody was at the dinner table, and I was like, I don't know about you guys stay here and party, but I'm going to fucking bed.
But a gummy and eating marijuana and smoking marijuana, it hits you differently, though. It affects you differently because your body breaks it down entirely different way.
Yeah, your liver processes the THC into what's called 10-hydroxy metabolite, which is 8 to 10 times stronger than THC. Same effects. So yeah, it'll really rock your world.
So I don't want to smoke anything. I don't like the smell of smoke. Even I damn sure don't like a cigarette, smoke anything. So there's no desire for me to want to smoke anything. But if I could take something and I could take it 11 o'clock at night and I'd be asleep at 11:15 and I would sleep till 6 o'clock in the morning, I would love that. I'm telling you right now.
So we produce nighttime specific gummies to where we're using other cannabinoids. Cannabinoids are what's like THC is a cannabinoid, CBD is a cannabinoid. So we make gummies to where we use a low dose of a cannabinoid called CBN, and it's pretty sedative. So we do a low dose of that in our nighttime gummies, and those ones are nice if you're trying to sleep throughout the night.
Yeah, I want something like Ambien does that doesn't cut off my brain, because you wake up Ambien,
make eggs in the middle of the night.
Fuck yeah, you're at McDonald's masturbating in the drive-thru. I mean, you don't want to do shit like that. I mean,
what happened?
Yeah,
one Ambien.
Yeah, damn, I just wanted a Big Mac. But but that's something like that would appeal to me. Or I know people have chronic back and neck problems. If you could eat something that would make you not hurt, where you could sleep at nighttime, that's what I'm saying. There's a reason why big government did not want marijuana legalized. It's because you can grow your own medicine, and they don't like that.
And it's good for everything.
Yeah, I took an naproxen this morning.
Yeah, I mean so. I think what you're doing. It's funny how marijuana has changed the outlook. I grew up in the '80s, and it was like, check out them potheads. I bet they're going to a rock concert tonight. Them some bitches are smart. I bet they fucking own a grow house now.
Yeah.
When you were growing up, I mean, did you have a lot of knowledge on the different strains and like growing your own marijuana, or where did you come across this knowledge to the career you have now?
That's a funny story. I was so our founding owner of this company is a childhood friend of mine. I was in early years of college trying to get my bachelor's degree because I was thinking I wanted to go to law school. And I grew up in Reno, Nevada, which is really close to Lake Tahoe. Half of Lake Tahoe is on the California side. I was going to school down in Reno, and my buddy, the founding owner of this company, was living up in Tahoe. And, I was hating school. I was telling him one day, God, I hate this. I can't believe that I have to do all this just to get a career going. And he's just like, why don't you just move to the lake and start growing weed like me? Because he was doing it, small out of a rental house in a garage there. And I was like, man, I want a career where I'm going to make good money. And he's like, how much money do you think you're going to make? And I told him what I wanted to make, and he's like, I'm already making that. And I was like, okay, well, I'll give that a try. And that was about 17 years ago. I moved up to Lake Tahoe, borrowed some equipment from him, and maybe about 6 months late. Yeah, 6 months later, I told my parents I was dropping out of college
to grow weed.
To grow weed. Yep.
I bet they were really impressed, weren't they?
How'd that go?
My dad wasn't too happy about it. Both my dad's a medical doctor. My mom is a nurse practitioner. My dad wasn't very happy about it. My mom was thrilled. She said, I haven't seen you this happy in a long time. Keep doing what you're doing.
Have you had any conversations with your dad about the medical benefits of marijuana? Like, has he kind of changed his attitude?
About 1 year. It took him about 1 year of me showing him, like, hey, look at my nice house up at the lake, and I'm doing good. I'm supporting myself, and it's only going up. And he's always been for the benefits of it. I don't think he liked the idea of his son being one of those dudes growing weed, one of those damn hippies.
If I had to choose between my kid being an attorney or growing pot, marijuana, or being I don't know what you call your job as. I mean, you're a pharmacist. I mean, I don't know what it was, but I would much rather you do that than be a fucking attorney.
Right.
So I think you're doing good. Are you happy in life?
Oh yeah.
I love that's what counts right there. If you're happy, you're doing what you need to do. That's right.
And at this point, I've been in it so long, and I don't really have too good of other skills, too many other good skills. So I'm kind of stuck. So whether I like it or not.
What the name of your stuff? Y'all said y'all had a Ricky Bobby.
Yep.
How many different varieties of marijuana are there?
Thousands.
Yeah.
Thousands.
We've got 30, 26 to 30.
Yeah, there's so many people crossing different stuff, and there's so many people that are crossing so many like strains now to where there's a lot of stuff that's really similar.
It's almost like the apple tree thing, like when Johnny Appleseed was trying to find that one tree that produces the best apple. Well, that's what they're doing now with marijuana, but it's times everyone does it. It's not just one person.
There's more people kin to Johnny Appleseed than Noah. Did you see that on him?
I didn't see
that.
Fuck,
he bred like 16,000 kids when he was walking. It wasn't just laying apple seeds everywhere.
I didn't see that.
Oh yeah, he's quite the coxman.
What were the early days like? Like when this was starting, what was the first state to go legal? Was it Nevada?
The first state to go
California or Washington has to be
medically legal. It was
Oregon or Cali?
Might have been California. I think there maybe was another state. It could have. It's weird. There's weird states to where it's like, oh, New Mexico's been legal for 2 years longer than California, but they weren't allowed to do anything. The bill passed, but they weren't allowed to do anything with it.
What were the early days like? Like when it first started to go legal, and then the cartel realized, ooh, fuck.
Yeah, so everything went medical first. California was 1997 when they passed their Proposition 215. That's what we call the good old 215 days. I was kind of on the tail end of that. When I first started growing, it was it's for personal use only. You're only supposed to be growing six plants or so in wherever you're growing it. I grew outdoor for a number of years in Northern California. It's where I'm doing 100 plants that are 15 feet tall, and I'm pulling 10 pounds off of every plant. There's just so many people doing it that they don't have the resources or time to arrest everybody, but you become real aware of what a helicopter in the distance sounds like.
But what about when the cartel realized? Was there ever a time in your career doing this that there were some shady guys maybe camped out front and had a little talk with you in the back?
No, not really. I grew up in Northern California near a town called Redding, California. It's the largest city, which is just a town north of the Bay Area. There's cartel growers all over out there, all over the place. They realize, instead of growing this ditchweed down in Mexico that's all stressed out, and they have to brick up and pay somebody to walk it across the border, and more than half of it gets taken all the time. They figured out, shoot, we can just go and grow it right where we're selling it.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
it's kind of unspoken, stay out of their way, they kind of stay out of your way.
And I mean, let's be honest here. You're either going to get shook down by the Mexican cartel or the U.S. government cartel. Like, you're going to get shook down.
Exactly.
A percentage is going to go one way or the other. So, like, which devil you want to do business with?
Yep, exactly.
Yep. What's the issue? You cannot you can't use the bank, so you have to use cash. Is that a wives' tale, or is that true?
So you cannot. There are a couple of banks that are at the state level, but I don't think that they're FDIC.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Banks,
what does that mean? If it goes belly up, it's not insured by the federal government?
Up to $100,000.
Yeah. FDIC. Yep. There's no insurance on your money that they're holding. But for this is just recent.
Yeah,
it's difficult to move money around in the business still. It's difficult to, a lot of this stuff is manufactured in China. The Mylar bags that they go into, the little vape cartridges that the oil goes into, 95% of that stuff is manufactured in China, and to get your money to China through a business is hard. It's difficult. You've got some people that are backdooring money and putting it in personal accounts and doing it that way. And
so let me ask this then. So you're double dipping. If just from what I've seen from watching Tulsa King, I'm getting this. You have an
It's got to be real.
You have an ATM in your store. Guy don't have cash. They go put their ATM store in there. So you're getting $3 off every time they get their own money out to pay you. I think you're a genius.
I don't know who's getting that $3.
I don't know either.
I bet you it's the company that, because it's not our ATM. We're renting the ATM from
one of the legal
whatever.
That's what's crazy is I came from building this building, watching it from ground up. And, the 3 jobs I had prior to working on this one was we were building the banks that sponsor all the cannabis grow houses and lend them money and all that stuff. So it's crazy. I'm sure the ATMs are coming from them.
Well, so hold on. A bank can loan you money
to build it.
Well,
but you can't bank with them.
It has to be the banks that are not insured, like the banks that are set up.
Okay.
Cannabis.
I got you now.
Not much money for these facilities is coming from a bank loan.
Yeah.
It's coming from investors.
Right. That I figured anyways, but you could bank there. But so a bank has the ATM there. Wouldn't you be better off to have your own ATM and launder your own cash that way?
Launder.
I don't work on the retail side. I don't know like that much about the business side of our dispensaries, because everything is different licenses. So we have a cultivation license, we have a manufacturing license, and we have a retail license. I'm not too privy to the retail side of things.
That's an interesting deal, though. I got mine from watching the TV, and the guy had an ATM in there, and I was thinking, son of a bitch, you own your own ATM? Because everybody has to pay you cash. Now, do you worry about
having
so
that much
do
cash
all
on
the
hand?
employees get paid cash too then?
We've had a couple weeks.
We've had a couple of weeks where they get paid cash, but nope, it's all going through a payroll service.
Yep.
Because you're paying taxes on what you're making. Then that's what I was getting at. Is everybody having to pay cash?
Yep. Everybody's taxed.
Yeah.
Yep. Even if they pay you in cash. When I was working in Nevada, it was always cash. I was always paid in cash, but I would still get a W-2 at the end of the year.
How does that work? They keep track of the cash that they give you, and that's what you got your
Yeah.
W-2 on. It's like, fuck, I didn't get any of that. I mean,
Just don't talk about this.
I don't know how all this works, but it's just
How about them tips?
How about those Jets getting Aaron Rodgers? It's just interesting the level. The government's like, nah, we really don't want to do this, but it's like, yeah, we'll tax you there, and we'll get a little bit here, and then we'll ding you right there, and you got to get your builder's license. So I don't know. It's a very hands-off, backdoorish approach that the government has taken into making sure that they do get their money from this business.
They always want their slice of the pie, no matter what.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So who's in charge of like figuring out everything that you need for the state that you're about to expand into? Because like you were saying, like we've got to have a production license. We've got to have all these different avenues taken care of before we can do anything. Is there like one person that's in charge of overseeing this entire project?
So we do have a director of compliance for our company that her job specifically is finding out everything that is needed, along with working with lawyers. A lot of lawyers they're the ones writing all these bills, and they're writing our applicant. Lawyers are the one that's ultimately writing our applications to get into each state. So that all the verbiage is correct. When they get these applications for these licenses, it's done on a 0 to 100 scale. You might have 10 sections in it, and each section is graded from a 0 to 10, and at the end of it, you're tallied up, and whoever's got the most points, they're awarded the licenses.
So back to some of the like production side of things. Whenever you're I'm getting a little bit of feedback. Maybe? No, I'm getting a little weird sound. And it's still there. Whenever a plant matures and you're going to sell it, what's the process like on, figuring out how potent it is and, the quality of that plant?
So the plant is done. It's fully ripened. It's fully mature. There's a couple of ways to do that. To gauge that, we use just a jeweler's loop. And you go up to the plant and you'll look at what's called the trichome on the plant, which is the little resin gland on there, which is what holds basically everything in the plant that we're after, the THC, the terpenes, the flavonoids, all those compounds are in there. You'll look at those and you'll gauge off of the color of them how far along, how ripe those plants are. So we'll take them down. They'll be hung to an initial drying room. Then they will be, the full plant will be hung upside down, dried. And then once we get to a certain moisture level that we're looking for in them, the buds will be clipped off the plant and placed into big sealed bags, and they'll be cured. They'll go through a curing process. And then once that's done, we will call it a third-party testing lab. There's multiple testing labs in every state. We'll call one of them, have them come out. They'll pull a sample, and they'll run it through their testing equipment that they can read the potency and all that stuff like that.
So there's not like a designated guy on a couch that's just like, hey, try this.
R&D.
You've been watching Drug Inc. too much.
Hey, what do we got here? What's it worth?
Yeah. Inject this in to see if it fucks you up real bad. We're going to sell it for more if it does. So this potency level, like proof of whiskey, is 120 proof. Is that really high?
Yeah, because that Bangtail right there is 90 proof.
Most whiskeys are like 80 to 90
Okay,
proof.
so Everclear, what's it? 120, 140 proof maybe?
Rock Gut.
200.
It's 200.
Everclear's 200.
Is that as high as you can get?
Yes, it's 100% grain alcohol.
This man knows everything. This is a smart
He's
guy.
fucking smarty.
I'll never get a fly. I never get a fly next to a guy on an airplane like this I can actually talk to. So 200 proof. So what in marijuana potency are we talking about is the highest level for marijuana?
97, 98.
So in buds, in the flower itself, to where you're going to roll a joint out of that stuff, high potency, nowadays you'll see things that are, breaking past 30%, 31% THC in there. Most things that are still considered high quality are going to be 24 to 27, 28%. When you start dipping below that 20%, which is still really strong, especially for a first-time smoker, that starts becoming like B grade. You'll see some stuff that's 15%. That's kind of like C grade, D grade. But the thing about marijuana is that it's not about the potency. That's where a lot of people, new users, are really misguided, uneducated about it. THC is THC. You're going to get the same effect from it. It's the other compounds that are in the plant. Terpenes being like the biggest one that's focused on in the cannabis industry. That's what's going to give you different effects. There's indicas, there's sativas. The sativas, people are, they describe them as kind of more energetic, focus, things like, being creative. Then there's indicas, which
Indicouch.
Yeah, indicouch.
That's what you need to sleep.
Relaxing, body high, euphoria. Those differences aren't in the THC that's in there. It's in the other compounds that are in the plant. I've seen plenty of people smoke something that's got 10% THC in it, and they will get more effects off of that than something that has 30% THC in it.
What's the how high can it go? And the reason why I ask, I have a buddy of mine here that hadn't smoked pot since he said he was in high school, and he smoked pot
70s
a couple of years ago. And he said, Jeff, I prayed to Jesus that night. If he'd let me live, I would never, ever do something like this again. He said, the marijuana they smoke today ain't nothing like they did when I was a kid or when he was in high school.
So there's every once in a while, you'll see something that's upwards of like 35%. That seems a little crazy to me to think that with all the other biomass and stuff that's in there, that 35% of that, little nug is THC. But I've seen it on test results. The test results aren't always, extremely accurate. Some labs have like a 15% variance in that.
15%. You can be off by 15%, and it's only going to go up to so like it could have been 15. They could have been 50% wrong.
Well, no, a 15%.
It'd be 5.
So meaning like off of. Let's just say there's a 10% variance, and on a 35%, if you're 10% off, it'd be 3.5.
I got you. I thought that like it could vary from 15 to 35.
Oh no.
Like,
and then
Christ.
So on the manufacturing side, the processing side that I work in, some of these going through a couple stages of distillation, you can see stuff upwards of 95% THC.
Where do you think that this ends? Because we're only going to get better at combining all of these things. Like, do you think where do you think that we're at in 20 years?
You can't get higher than 100%. And we're with these distillation processes that we're running. I've seen, I've had test results come back at 99% total cannabinoids. But then you're going to dilute it down with terpenes and stuff. You'll mix back 8-9% terpenes. So you might be running at 88% THC with those terpenes in there. That's not really what I'm after. The products that I like to make, I like producing full spectrum products to where it's going to have all of the other compounds that I've kind of been hitting on that are going to give you like the full effect, what we call the entourage effect. You're taking your entourage of all your compounds and you're putting them together and getting a smoother high, I guess you would call it.
Right.
Those are usually 70 to 80% THC.
And are you like whenever you're trying to get these different compounds together, are you testing the product like yourself to see what this is doing to you, or is it all off? Send it all off to a machine and you just measure the readings?
So we do both. We'll send it off. We have to. We're under really strict compliance regulations here. There's in Missouri specifically. In every single room that there's going to be product in, there's 2 cameras. There has to be 2 cameras in there on product at all time. You can't just take something and just stick it in your pocket and walk out the door. The state has access to everybody's security at all times. It's all live, so they could just randomly pop on and see what you're doing. So we have to go through all of the stages. Basically what we do is, if I'm like, hey, this is a newer product, I need to test it, we'll go through all that stuff. We'll sell it to our dispensary for a penny. Mm-hmm. And I'll go there and give them a penny and buy it for a penny. And, I'm pretty hard on myself on stuff. So I'm not usually the judge of it, because anytime I smoke something that's mine, I'll be like, nah, it's all right. Right. So I usually have a few other people try it. And I'm all, my thing is like, I can stroke my own dick all day. I don't care about that. Like, I want to hear the bad. Don't tell me, oh, it's great. I want to hear like, no, it was a little weird on the, on the end taste. Nowadays, there's a lot more connoisseurs nowadays that really care about the flavor, and stuff like that. They don't want to be smoking something that tastes like burnt rubber. Right. So I'm like, if this tastes weird in any way, if it doesn't taste exactly how I describe it to you, please let me know so that I can make adjustments before I mass produce this stuff.
Okay, but how do you do that? Like, if they say, no, it's a little too skunky for my liking, like, how do you even go back to the beginning to change the flavor profile? It's fascinating.
So I can just adjust, if it too skunky, like if they say, oh, it tastes too strong, I'm not like, oh, like when you're formulating, you're adding the terpenes back in, the flavors, it'll be more of a like, hey, that one was a little strong, like it was kind of burned my throat when I exhaled, and I'll be like, okay, my terpene formulation was a little too high, I'll back that off.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It is.
I mean, you're a genius to come up with these things, to even be able to know, like, I was a little hot coming out of my chest, like, oh, okay, well, that's what's fucked up. I'll fix that. That's no problem at all.
I'm really good monkey see, monkey do.
Do you think Marlboro gets into this game?
Oh yeah, big time.
Really?
Or R.J. Reynolds or whoever owns it, Philip Morris, whatever them 2 big ones are.
Procter & Gamble, as soon as it goes federal, they'll buy up as many facilities as they can, and they'll, there's big companies. There's a company called AYR that some of my friends work for. They came into Northern Nevada, but right before I moved out here, and they bought up probably a dozen licenses and shut them all down except for a couple. So they hold the license. If they're shutting them down, nobody can use it, and so they're ramping up their production in some of these other facilities, and and that's how they're working to drive the prices back up. And big business is real good at doing stuff like that.
I hunted a guy years ago that worked for Philip Morris or for R.J. Reynolds, one of the smoke companies, cigarette companies, and he told me the best thing happened to them is if they just outlawed cigarettes in America all the way and they just sold cigarettes in Europe. Because the taxes and all the crap they got to jump through in America is so much worse than overseas is. He goes, there's more profit to be made in Europe and China and places like that than there is here with cigarettes.
Plus, nobody's really smoking over here anymore.
I don't know. Fuck, everybody I see is vaping nowadays. That's where the money. Whoever invented the vapes, the fucking smart son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Just like all your beer drinkers, all your, 50 and up are drinking Budweisers and the heavier beers, and then all your low, guys coming out of high school are drinking your seltzers and range waters.
Yeah, nothing says I'm a man like drinking a White Claw.
Exactly.
Right.
So, I mean, even the beer industry is taking a hit.
Well, I think most of the beer companies own all the seltzer companies now.
Yep.
So let me ask you this: what do you think that the age should be? Let's say that this goes legal federally. What do you think that the age should be? Because tobacco, you can be 18. Well, that's 21
No,
in
21,
Texas.
I think.
No, it's 21 in Missouri.
I think
too.
it's federally 21.
Is it?
I think
For
so.
a long, when I was growing up, 18 you got tobacco, 21 you got alcohol. Do you think that 21 is kind of the safe number for marijuana if this goes legal federally?
And if you can get, I'm kind of this with marijuana and alcohol. I think if they can send you across the pond to go shoot another man, you should be able to smoke a joint and drink a beer.
So 18.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah. But the medicinal side of it, 99% of people are smoking weed to get high.
Yes.
Like let's just be honest.
Say what you want. Yeah, but you're doing it for the effect, not because it helps with your glaucoma.
There's still that 1% that, some old lady that's just like, I don't want to smoke it. I just want something to be able to sleep, or there's there's all these kids where it's stopping these seizures dead in their tracks.
Right.
So, if it's, something that their parents think is a safe thing to do, and the doctors are getting more educated on it, and it's something that they feel that that's the right path to go for their child, give it to your don't hand your 5-year-old a big old joint,
Right.
Administer them, something orally, and there's other, it doesn't always have to be a gummy, there's gummies are just big right now because they don't melt in your pocket. That you can eat them as you please. There's tinctures. There's things like that where you can administer a very low dose to where your kid's not even going to get high, and they're going to get the benefit. Stop their grand mal seizures from happening and stuff.
Yeah.
I agree with you on everything except I think the legal drinking age and marijuana, cigarettes, everything should be 19 years of age. Because when it's 18 years old, we have too many 14, 15-year-old kids that have access to it. You go to party.
Yeah.
If you went to a party in 1976, any high school party, there was 4 kegs of beer there because Joe, the 18-year-old, could do it. Well, dumbass Dave, that's 19, that's still in high school, there's not a lot of those kids around. So, so that's my only thought on that. Just because it too much access to 14 and 15-year-olds to get alcohol or marijuana if it's 18 years old. 19, I'm with you 100%. If you're old enough to fight for our country, you ought to be able to do what you want to do. Same as buying guns. You ought to be able to buy a fucking gun and ammo at 19 years of age.
You can't even rent a car, right? Until you're like 23, some weird fucking number.
25, I
Well, but that's not a federal law. That's just the car companies know a bunch of dumbass fucking kids don't need to be renting a car.
No, but I mean, if a soldier's flying home to see his family for Christmas and he's 19 years old, he can't fucking rent a car for 6 more years. That's
right. But if
asinine in my mind. You can drive a tank over there. You can work on a ship or a helicopter or whatever.
Hold on.
But by God, that fucking Hyundai Civic out there, that's too good for you, cowboy.
Hold on, though. That's not a law. That's the companies are doing that.
I understand.
So you telling me, do you drive a rental car different than you would your own? Fuck yeah. You don't worry about that shit.
I do not.
I thought about renting a car just a tornado chase.
I don't want to have a wreck. So I got the
Get that Chevy Silverado, Jack.
My fucking truck looks like a fat girl's ass. It's got so many hell dents on that son of a bitch.
Cigarette smokers from 1965, 42% of Americans smoke cigarettes. It's down to 14% now.
That does. I don't know anybody that smokes regular. Well, a couple of my guides have, but they're all vapors.
Right. Well, yeah. No. That's just cigarettes.
I'll bet there's more vape now.
There's vaping. Like it's at 19% of 18 to 29-year-olds.
You don't know how bad cigarette smoke is until you go to a casino and they have a smoke room. Because after COVID, the best thing was all the casinos went to smoke free, and now they have smoke rooms. You walk in that son of a bitch, you have secondhand cancer just walking in the door. It's terrible. Yep. You can cut the air with a knife, and to think that was the normal situation, but nobody realized
airplanes.
Yeah, I grew up. My mom and dad both smoked like everybody did in the 60s and 70s. And looking back now, I can't imagine being in a house where someone's smoking a cigarette.
Right.
Yeah.
What is there enough data out there to see if regular marijuana smoking is going to? Are there going to be any cancer, lung cancer patients like we saw with cigarettes, or was it just specific to cigarettes because of the carcinogens they added?
Well, when you combust anything, there's lots of carcinogens entering your body, and the tar that comes off of marijuana it dwarfs cigarette tar. So it's smoking weed every day, like smoking joints all day every day. That's no good for your lungs at all.
Right, because I mean you're putting smoke in your lungs, so like it's not long term. It's not going to be good.
You're going to get more respect by saying that from the people like me that have never done anything than someone that come out here because you told you're honest about shit, and I appreciate that so much because we need more of that in everything in the world when it comes to medicine and stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely can't sit here and say, "Oh, smoke weed all day, every day. You're gonna be healthiest person."
Go run that marathon.
Guarantee if you have to run for your life, you're gonna be sucking wind.
If you can get off of the couch.
So you're saying do not smoke pot every day and do not eat a dozen Dunkin' Donuts every day.
Yeah, exactly. Everything in moderation.
Find something in the middle.
Gummies though don't affect your lungs.
No, but if you're eating a bag of gummies every day, that the diabetes man might come to get you.
There's nobody from Budweiser coming on saying don't drink a 6-pack a day. It's really good for you. So you're being honest. I like that.
Fatty liver disease. Do y'all put the gummies like in like does it have like sugar coating? Is that what it is or?
So one thing that sets our company apart from a lot of other companies, there's not very many people that are not doing sugar coated gummies because not very many people have the recipes figured out.
Don't give them too many over secrets.
Yeah, I've just been fortunate enough. I've worked with some people that taught me a lot of things, and so we actually have a non-sugar coated gummy that's just like a gummy bear.
And it tastes okay?
Fantastic.
Really?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What you?
We will be producing. Our kitchen's just finishing coming together in this facility. We're going to be producing a bunch of non-infused gummies that are there's no weed in them. That we'll take down to the dispensary. And we'll say, hey, this is what our gummies are going to taste like, and we'll just give them away. If you guys are interested in trying some of those, we could easily send you guys a pack of non-infused gummies.
When are you guys going to be up in St. Louis?
Andy will be there in July. What you need to do is get Michelle Stanfield's world famous chocolate chip cookies, figure a way to put some weed in them some bitches, and you'll sell out. Every fat fucker diabetic some bitch in the world will be buying them suckers.
Jeff, we don't want people to get the diabetes off of eating too many
My wife
pot
makes
cookies.
the best chocolate chip cookies. We serve them at the lodge every day.
Right.
And they are the best in the whole world.
I was just saying, if you come up to St. Louis, I don't know if you drive through Kansas City or not, but we're only
3 hours.
2 minutes, or not 2 minutes, but 20 minutes from I-70 straight north from downtown Kansas
Where
City.
you at?
So it's not like
How far are you from Lexington?
Lexington,
Missouri, Higginsville, Warrensburg.
we are, so where Smithville is on a map. If you look at Kansas City and the Missouri River, we are directly north on 169 from Kansas City.
How far are you from Marysville?
We're south of that, probably an hour, 45 minutes to an hour.
My good friend
south of Marysville.
Logan Pyatt. That's where he's looking at.
I played football against Logan Pyatt in high school.
Did you?
really? Was he a little bitch?
Yes.
Was he a little
I don't know.
bitch?
We always whooped their ass.
Was his jersey dirty by the end of it, or was he always leave, show up
We
clean
always
and leave
played them on
clean?
homecoming just so. Saturday games against Rockport, guaranteed.
The only time Logan had to get dirty during warm-ups, it was the only way he's gonna get a grass stain on his jersey.
Poor Logan, such a good guy.
Not even here to defend himself.
Yeah,
He's a great guy.
He is. He's awesome.
he'd be a
him.
good customer for you.
I love him to death. You don't know that, Jeff. Don't be speaking out of school here. You gotta go.
We'll trade him some bourbon, or trade him some bourbon for some gummies.
Are you guys going to get into any of like the psychedelics, because there's a big movement, an underground movement right now for the mushrooms and stuff? Is this something we're gonna get into, or are we gonna stick where we're good at?
We'll stick with what we're good at. The difference between the psychedelic movement and the pot movement, there's people that can sit there and smoke pot nonstop, and we love that as a company. We can sell to them all day. You can only eat so many mushrooms, so it's not, you know what I mean?
Right.
You can only handle so much. So there's a lot of people that are after it, that want it to be legalized, and I agree with the benefits of that as well, the PTSD and all that kind of stuff that it's wonderful for. But it won't, in my opinion, it won't ever pull the revenue that the weed industry pulls.
Well, just like you said, I mean, you broke it down perfectly. People that do mushrooms are only going to do it. They're not going to do it every day. If they do, it's going to be in the small. It's going to be microdosing, and there's not going to be any profit in that.
Exactly.
So I mean,
exactly,
it makes perfect sense.
There'll be a couple of companies that are making microdose only, to where they're selling them in capsules and bottles, and like I said, you grow one warehouse of your warehouse full of mushrooms. How long is it going to take you to sell all that?
Right. Yeah. I don't know if we can say this or not, but if we can't, I can take this out. But Zach, you sent me a picture of your flower room.
Yeah.
What?
It's kind of like a standoff pic of we have 9 of those.
You have
just kind of get you guys an idea of the facility we're at.
Yeah, I'm showing Jeff right now.
I tell you what, we got 9 rooms here. Texas does this. Is what we need to be doing.
Right. So where does the mother plant come from? Are all of these from the same mother plant or what?
In there's probably, in that room, there's probably 4 different varieties, 4 different strains. So our mother plants, they all live in their own room. All the different strains are together in one big room. Each strain might have a dozen mother plants.
Uh-huh.
To get the number of cuttings we have to get off of it. It might take 10 of those to get to our number of 1,400 cuts we have to get off of it. So those are in their own space. Every different stage of the growth cycle, the mother plants, the vegetative, or to where we're propagating, brooding the clones, then those go into veg, and then those from veg go into flower. Every single stage has its different parameters of how the climate needs to be in there.
That's where my expertise comes in.
Well, that's what you meant by, listen, this is like your mortgage payment every couple of months, basically, as far as electricity and, I mean.
Yeah, our power bill is probably $50,000 to $60,000 a month.
God damn.
That's you gotta spend money to make money, though.
Can you haggle can you haggle with the electricity company? Listen, motherfucker.
Well, what's good is, so we have our lights on are 12 hours on, 12 hours off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, it switches. We have odd and even rooms, and it switches from that. And I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying this or not. I don't want to give any secrets away by any means. But with that window of time, the power company says, hey, we're not using energy from
non-peak hours.
Non-peak hours.
So we have the majority of our power being drawn in non-peak hours, where you're getting, you're drawn to peak hours, you're getting higher rate than non-peak hours.
Right. Right. I think Texas did something like that during the summer months. From you're charged at a different rate if you use electricity from 10 to 5 in the morning or something like that.
Yeah.
So is this this is the flower room? Is this like the last room that they'll go to?
Yes.
They'll go to a dry.
Then they'll go to a dry. Once they're harvested, they'll go to a dry room, and then once they go from the dry room, they'll go
to trim.
They'll go to a different room to get manicured, to get trimmed up, and then they'll go from that. They'll go into a packaging room. So I mean, they go to a lot of different places.
Right, but this will be the last place that before it starts the production.
So like in New Jack City, y'all don't have a room with a bunch of naked women just wearing thong panties that are sorting this shit.
Nope. We've lost a couple employees because it wasn't like that.
I can stick this.
Sticks in Missouri You might not. You might want to have some women fully.
You need to go down to Twin Peaks for lunch, I guess, if you want to see anything like that.
Right. Delta 8 is legal here in Texas, and I've heard some people that have taken that have just gone to the moon.
Yeah, so Delta 8's a little. So Delta 9 is what is federally illegal. That's the psychoactive compound. Delta 8 is just a different placement of your carbon chain coming off of your THC molecule. It's coming off the 8th delta instead of the 9th delta, which in the chemistry world it's a different compound, so that it's not specifically written into the federal bill that it's illegal. It is a synthetic cannabinoid, meaning that you have to make it in a lab. Mm-hmm. And that's a way that we do that. We don't do that, anything like that in our facility. I've worked with some CBD companies out west to where you're taking CBD, pure CBD isolate, which means it's 99.9% pure CBD, and you're introducing what's called a Lewis acid to it, it's a really aggressive acid, and you are breaking apart that chain and cooling it, and it's reattaching back at the Delta 8. And
legs are getting tired.
I understand.
It's not always, you see that stuff sold in head shops and gas stations, and it's not always done correctly. There's no real regulations around testing on that stuff. So there's organic chemistry can produce some pretty nasty compounds that can be left over in that.
What is the other one besides Delta 8? There used to be something, and it was horrible. And as a judge, I had to deal with this stuff a couple of times. I can't.
The spice or whatever, the kids like the
K2.
K2. That fucked up a lot of people.
Yeah.
Bad stuff.
Yeah, I remember that giving people seizures and all kinds of
horrible
stuff.
But it's just weird that Texas is like, oh, take the Delta 8. You're good.
They're not doing that. There's a loophole in the law.
I understand that, but how?
It's the farm bill. It's when they passed the farm bill federally.
Because hemp's legal.
Federally, because hemp's legal, and so we're taking CBD that's produced by the hemp plant, and we are converting that to Delta 8. Well, people are converting that to Delta 8. Like I said, I stay away from that kind of stuff. It's a pain in the ass. It's not dangerous if you're doing it in a lab, but it's no fun.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I have a lot of pride in my work. At the end of the day, when you produce something like that, you're like, cool.
Right. I just did all this shit in the lab, basically. The labor of love's not there, is what you're saying.
Right. Exactly.
Jesus. Yeah. Fascinating stuff. This has been a lot of fun. We've gone over an hour here, so I know you guys have got a lot of shit to do. What is, so lift the veil a little bit here. What is the new strain product that we're working on right now? Can you tell us, or is it too top secret?
Well, so our hottest strain out that our breeder, which is our founding owner of the company, he does a lot of our breeding projects. He's been in this for about 2 decades now. The Ricky Bobby's really hot strain. He passed it out to a couple of places. It's believe it or not, it's huge in Oklahoma. I mean, I guess it's believable. It's huge in Oklahoma right now. It's got a really, really unique flavor and smell profile.
And what is it? A sativa or an indica, or is it hybrid?
So most everything's a hybrid these days, but it's a sativa leaning hybrid. It grows like a sativa, real tall, lanky. Kind of takes a little bit longer for it to finish in the flower rooms. But it's like tastes like eating a bag of Skittles when you smoke it.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's the Ricky Bobby strain. Where did marijuana originate? Like, where do we have any origin stories? No, was it over here natively?
There's wild marijuana in the panhandle of Texas.
Was it that way 5,000 years ago? Is what I'm getting at.
It's peyote.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm getting at. Or was it from somewhere else and we brought it over here?
I think it's been in like Mayan culture and stuff for however many thousands of years that is. I'm not sure where it originated. Could have originated in the Hindu Kush Mountains.
Right.
Hence the name Kush, the Hindu Kush Valley. I'm not 100% sure on
Chinese. Everything's from fucking China. Hemp seed flour.
China. See, they're goddamn fucking can't have anything without them. Got
also,
opium from them.
But in Mexico, they called it the Chinese oregano.
Huh. That seems awfully racist for a bunch of Mexicans to be saying.
Well, I'm looking it up right now, and they don't.
Does Afghanistan have good marijuana? Because there was that one movie, not War Dogs. The fuck was it? It's got Blake Lively in it. And the guy was a soldier and he'd smuggle marijuana over.
I think their big money was on heroin.
He's a movie buff too.
Yeah, over there, what they do, they're more into, with hashish. Mm-hmm. They smoke. They take you'll see people working out in the big fields, and they'll be going up to the plants that are still alive, and they're taking the big old stalks and rubbing their hands like this on it, and then they call it finger hash, and they get done and they look at their hand and they're black and they scrape that stuff off their hands. There's other ways. They dry sift it, so they'll take it dried and they'll sift it through screens to get it to refine the plant material out of it and just have the hash fall through the screens, and they'll collect that. So they're big potheads there. They don't really smoke the flower. They smoke the strong part of the plant and leave the rest, for the goats.
Okay, just
could you imagine the goats out there just fucking laying down?
For the old hippie that's going to correct us, because we get corrected on every podcast when we say something wrong. Marijuana likely started in Asia around 500 BC. Then it went from Central Asia, and then they went into Africa, Europe, and eventually America. So there you go, Andy. That's where it started. In the early 1600s, the Virginia, Massachusetts, and Connecticut colonies required farmers to grow hemp. It had very low levels of THC at the time.
Hemp still being in the cannabis family, it's really, really good for soil health. It pulls heavy metals out it really does a good job of cleaning soil. For a lot of these monocrop farmers, out in the Midwest, it wouldn't hurt for them to rotate their crops and every couple of years do a big field of hemp, just for the fact of soil recovery. It pulls stuff out. It puts nutrients back into the soil. It's really good.
How much could you? What kind of profit? How big of a pain in the ass would it be to sell the hemp?
Right. Since the Farm Bill passed and every single farmer thought they were going to get rich off of growing hemp, it's fucking terrible.
Right.
Yeah. There's not enough places that know how that can
facilitate it.
Yes.
I saw a guy on the Panhandle. He's done very well.
Well, there's enough processors. There's a guy. He's a Berkeley PhD Berkeley guy, big pothead, awesome. Hung out with him at Burning Man a few times. He's got a plant up there in Washington near Tacoma, to where he's got my benchtop lab equipment. Is maybe I'm feeding 20 liters through it a day. His equipment's 3 stories tall, all stainless steel, and he's pumping tens of thousands of pounds of material through it a day.
That's crazy. So you went to Burning Man.
What's that like?
That's what I wanted to hear about, because my uncle went to Burning Man, and I was really surprised by that.
So I went my first time when I was about 22. I'm 36 now. It was a lot different then, and it was still, even when I went then, people still say it's changed a lot. It has become so commercialized to where all just,
I got some calls coming in.
It's fun. It's the time of your life. It's go out there and you see stuff that you won't see anywhere else. The parties are fun. It's a week to get away, go out in the desert. You know, people that aren't people that are like from the Midwest and, you know, the East where it's really humid and stuff. They're out there in that Nevada desert and they dry up like an old sponge.
That's got to be such a letdown because all the people, it's just like Woodstock was. Like, you know, when it first originated, it was this rebellious cry and, you know, fuck the man, fuck corporate America. And then if enough eyeballs go to it, enough asses sit in the seats, corporate America is going to make its way into these places.
Yeah, I mean, they're selling them. You know, they're selling them for $500-$600 a ticket, and there's 100,000 people going.
Shit.
You know, there's big business reaching their hands into that pocket.
Yeah. So what's the bucket story? We were told this was your nickname before we started. Like where
you don't want to get into this.
That nickname high school. It was running around being stupid, smoking pot. I used to something stupid had to be done, you know, jump your bike off this into this river. You know, I'd always be the kid, fuck it, I'll do it, fuck it, I'll do it. And so a couple of my friends started, fuck it, bucket. And then one night somebody's like, you're bucket. Like, please, God, no.
That's a good nickname, though.
It's one of those things, you don't choose your nicknames, people choose them for you. And that's one of those things where just like, some of my friends would be like, yeah, this is Bucket. I'm like, no, my name is Matt.
Matt.
Once you act like you don't like something, then it sticks with you. Because I'm a nickname giver around the lodge, and if it bothers you and you ever let everybody know it bothers you, fuck it. That's what we're going to call you forever.
We do. You guys don't do hog hunts down there, do you?
Yes, we do.
So one of our owners is from Canada, and he wants to go down and shoot hogs out of a helicopter or something.
I can take care of you on that.
We got a guy that does it.
So, well, I guess once we start making money, he's going to make a business trip or a team bonding moment where we go down and shoot hogs. So
just holler at me. Let me know. I can take care of you guys on that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, we appreciate you guys being on here. It's been a great podcast, very educational. I like how you went from becoming an attorney to making and selling pot. God bless you, American way. Live the way you want to live and not through the way your parents want you to live. I do pray for your parents too, because I know the moment you quit college, they were like, "Oh fuck, we're gonna be bailing him out of jail every day now."
He's going to grow marijuana.
Yep. Hey guys, and just before we end, is it cool if I plug my brother's new company?
Go ahead. Sure.
So I come from out west. You know, I grew up doing a lot of upland game hunting, mule deer hunting, elk hunting in Nevada, bighorn sheep hunting, antelope hunting. You know, all that stuff. My younger brother's got a company. It's called Trackin' Outdoors. His Instagram handle's at TRAKN_outdoors. He's real big into upland game, chucker hunting. Big time chucker hunting. He's my stepbrother. His dad was just in Kansas this year, last week, doing dog trials. His dog got won puppy of the year at the BDC Nationals out in Kansas. His name is Rowan. My brother's name is Rowan Ricks. Just wanted to what state
is he in?
Nevada.
He's in Nevada.
Yep, northern Nevada.
Very cool. We'll give him a follow on Instagram.
Awesome.
What one last question before we get off here? What about like the big because they have like weed strain of the year and stuff like that? Do you guys apply for that? Like, do you think that Ricky Bobby's got to make a run?
So we've got a strain that's specifically our only. So there's, you know, you have these strains. So how you make these strains, you have a male plant and you have a female plant, and it's just like a mom and a dad. You cross them and it makes seeds. It makes a bunch of kids.
Well, the Democrats are going to get pissed at you for saying that shit.
Do they identify as male and female plants? Like, are we sure? Have we talked to them?
Yeah, one's got
a skin. Literally, like
does it really?
The male plants, the male plants grow out of their shoots 2 little balls, and that's how you sex them when you're popping seeds. You sex them like that, and that's a male. In facilities like that, we are very sexist.
I can't believe
males down.
You had me until you started sexual identifying these plants.
I'm going to shock. I'm going to
shock
shock you, but my wife grew pumpkins in our yard last year.
That male and female.
There, you can tell the difference in them too. Same way.
Sexist assholes.
So anyways, the seeds are just like kids. Just because you got the same mom and dad doesn't mean you look alike or smell alike or anything. So we call that phenotypes. We have a specific phenotype of a strain called ice cream cake that our breeder guy, hunted out of a bunch of seeds. It's one strain of the year at the Emerald Cup in California, the last 3 years in a row. It's won best of show 1 year. We have another strain called Sherbed that has placed second or in the top three, second or third in the last 3 years. And then another strain called Orange 43 that this last year got third place.
Wow.
So we're
how do they judge this? I mean, you got Snoop Dogg sitting around and just fucking.
Yep. So it's not we've got, in the industry, we've got people we call the OGs of the industry who are, they're well known. They've done a lot of work for the industry and stuff. And they really know their shit. It's a blind Pepsi challenge. It's a blind taste test. They'll get handed a bag with some weed in it, and it'll have a number on it, and they'll have a score sheet, and they'll go through and check the boxes, give them a score in all these different boxes, and that's kind of how they're graded between the judges. And at the end of the weekend, there's an award ceremony, and
that's crazy.
Yeah, the first year that we won, I will wake up in the morning and I check because I wasn't at the show, and I like, holy shit, we won!
Really?
Yeah, it's been cool.
What's the weed that Snoop Dogg likes? What is it? Green crack or something like that? What did he call it?
I have no idea. I think he smokes a lot of OG Kush.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it.
I bet you his ass ain't running no marathon.
No.
He smokes. Snoop Dogg's got a guy. He pays $50,000 a year to only roll blunts. That's his job. Hangs out with him all day and rolls blunts for him. Pays him $50,000.
Now I think Willie Nelson, didn't he quit smoking? He vapes it or something like that. Too hard on his lungs or something like that.
Probably.
Still smoking?
500 years old.
Yeah, that's son of a bitch. I think he came over on the Ark.
Yeah.
He's the one that brought it everywhere. He displaced it in all these different regions.
He's the Johnny Appleseed of weed.
He's got the greatest saying ever: is he lived so long he outlived his dick.
Mm-hmm. I remember when was spinach getting recalled, and somebody was on him about smoking weed, and he was like, "Thank God it's not spinach."
Yeah, other than being a liberal, he's a cool dude.
Oh yeah, he's a cool guy. All right, gentlemen, we appreciate you guys coming on here. This has been a fascinating interview, and
do you want to give a shout out to your dispensary?
There's guys that like old school potheads that are like, this y'all are making weed growing too hard. Like I just did it.
What was the name of y'all's place?
Yeah, it's called Local Cannabis Company. If somebody wants an address, it's like 45th and Bellevue. But
so we've got so Local Cannabis Company is our brand. We've got a dispensary in Kansas City. We've got one in Santa Barbara, and we've got one in some little Jewish community in Massachusetts. I couldn't tell you the name of it.
Yeah.
How's that store doing? Big Jews love the marijuana?
You'd be surprised. It's you'd be surprised to see people come through those doors.
Oh, I agree.
All walks of life.
One of our farmers in Oklahoma, that's what he said. When it was medicinal, he's like, you would be shocked to see who all's got a marijuana card in my town, because there's like 6 in a town of 1,500 people.
Yep. Yeah, it seems like the only people that aren't at least experimenting with it are the people that are bound by drug testing with their jobs. Otherwise, everybody's giving it a try.
Yep. That is a fact. Well, listen, it's been a great interview, fun. We wish you guys the best. And if there's anything we can ever do for you guys, let us know, okay?
God bless you, my friends. Thank you very much. We really enjoyed this.
All right.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Interesting podcast. Very interesting.
Zach and Matt. I'm telling you what, there are old school potheads that are like, why are they making it that difficult to grow weed?
until they smoke the new shit. And they're like, oh, fuck.
Give me the old stuff.
Someone's going to come back and make the old weak shit for them. Someone's going to come back, old man marijuana. That's old man marijuana.
Yeah.
That's like figured a way to get Michelle's cookies and that shit so she can start earning her keep. Telling you.
I was talking to a guy. It was, what year was it? I'll tell you who it is off the air. But he's like, the investors have basically already set the infrastructure up for it to go legal in Texas.
Oh, you told me about this already.
Yeah.
And
Like,
like every the step, like for us to get into it would be almost impossible.
Yeah, like we're 5 years behind the curve because like URL,
there's grow
IP
houses
addresses,
ready.
Yeah, like
They're-
it's just turn the switch from making this to this. So
There are 2 grow houses between the exit and the casino and the first exit.
Really?
In Oklahoma now. I mean, and they've grown since. I mean, it's
yeah.
just grow and grow. But there's 2 of them right there.
Go to New Mexico. I'm serious. You go to Farwell, Texas, to Texaco, and it is across the train track, and it is dispensary.
Well, these are just medical ones there. So
Oh,
you
I
got to
know.
have a card, but you can
Right.
go to Dr. Patel and he'll give you something for your gout or whatever it is.
Not
But
difficult.
it is crazy that the American government's just missing out on taxes on the deal. I don't know. Sometimes, well, we all know why though. Big Pharma doesn't want it.
Sure.
And if you watch a Super Bowl ad, you didn't see any dispensary ads, but you saw Pfizer everywhere.
When Pfizer can figure out how to make money on marijuana, then it will be legal.
Yep. Well, they can't, and that's why they don't. Because you can't grow it. You can't grow hydrocodone at your house
Well, I mean, you heard
or
them,
Viagra.
you heard them say that the big tobacco companies are going to figure out their way in. So I mean, there's
Yep.
not a whole lot of difference between big tobacco and big pharma.
End of the month, me and Andy will be at the Bass Classic with On 'em Fishing and Boss Shot Shells.
Matty Robinson.
Yep,
Matty
with
Robinson.
at his booth and with Boss. So come by and see us at the Bass Pro or the Bass Class, not Bass Pro, Bass Classic. Never been to a fishing show. This ought to be kind of interesting.
Oh no.
And they are huge. What's wrong?
Bucky and them are coming out.
Uh-huh.
I put the prime rib in the oven
And it's not on.
and I didn't hit start.
Okay.
But
Mhm.
I mean, it was already cooking, so whoops. We'll figure it out.
All right. Thank you and God bless y'all. Have a great
Gotta
day.
go figure out what to do now.
I was getting hungry.
Go check out our sponsors. Go check out the Looking Glass podcast. Listen, sorry about the interview, Logan. Hunt Proof App, Alpha Outdoor Specialties, Bangtail Whiskey, Stanfield Outfitters, Dirty Duck Coffee, Ducks Unlimited, Double T British Kennels, Lucky Duck, Chin Gear, Gundog Outdoors, Pacific Calls, Dive Bomb Industries, Boss Shot Shells, and Mossberg.